Welcome to another making of video. This is NightSwimming. My entry for the Pixel Graphics Compo at Evoke 2025. This is the fixed palette for this year, 10 colors, not bad. I already had a theme in mind for quite some time, so first a big shout out to Mate of Bomb who did this awesome image for the Neo Geo demo Vaporous, first shown at Revision this year. I must say I was completely floored, one of the best pixel images ever, extremely well done. So as some sort of tribute, I wanted to do something with water and a face and a fish that were partially submerged. As usual, I started with some sketches on paper and used my usual Amiga inspired low res size of 320 by 256 in my homemade dpaint.js. I'm not going to dwell on the drawing part too much, you can see a sped up time-lapse of the main subject, because I want to highlight some tricks and techniques I used for the animation. Doing an animation is always a good opportunity to expand the features of my software and to polish the workflow some more. Many hours later, the face is about done. Then I refined the water and added some trees in the background, adding more details. The water and background is mainly the spray and the smear tool. So now the smear tool is a so-called dirty tool, meaning that it's normally not very suited for doing pixel work, because it adds blur and all sorts of intermediate colors. All fine if you're doing full color high definition images, but not wanted for pixel stuff. The trick in dpaint.js is to activate the palette lock, which basically means whatever you do, don't introduce any new colors. This works with any dirty tool like blur and color adjustments, and when used with the smear tool you get this, no blur and still only 10 colors. Enter the fish. It's on a different layer because I want to animate it. Beep, beep, beep. Doing a frame-by-frame animation can be very tedious, but there are a lot of tricks and shortcuts to speed it up. First, almost all of the animation is in 2D, just shifting and transforming layers, which is very fast to do. For the fish, I start with defining a mask so I can freely move the image, only exposing what's inside the mask. Adding some frames and move the fish slightly each frame to make it float. Rotating 2D layers is also easy. Again, make sure you have all smooth settings turned off. Otherwise you get blurry results and an exploding color count. I have implemented a pixel optimized rotation algorithm called Rod Sprite, which gives good results and still keep the pixels sharp. There are usually some manual restorations to be made, but still fast and easy. For the reflections, the fish layer gets duplicated, flipped and made a bit darker. The animation has 96 frames and the fish reflection is always the same, so for repetitive tasks like this I use an external program called Remouse, which lets you record mouse and keyboard actions and repeat those multiple times at lightning speed. Very handy for repetitive frame actions like this. Then, the water. Nope, I didn't do that by hand. I use an auto rippling effect trick for this. Basically you start with a blank canvas and a small dot, then on a duplicate of the image you apply a small amount of blur, and then you take the original layer and you subtract that from the blurred version. Up the brightness a bit, and repeat and repeat and repeat. If you keep doing that you get an expanding circle shape mimicking a drop on a water surface. And if you add multiple of these drops, you end up with a pretty convincing water surface. That's of course, again, super tedious to do by hand. Now, if only we could automate that. And of course we can. Exactly one of the reasons I wanted my own painting software is the ability to run scriptable effects on the image. They are located in the Alchemy tab of the Effects panel. You basically get all the pixels of the active layer and you can write your own scripts to process those pixels. For example, to add some stains to the image. This is the ripple one. When you define structures like this, you automatically get these sliders where you can adjust your parameters. We start with our blurry dot. We squash it a bit to make it not completely circular, to add some depth. And this is the blur part, just an average of the surrounding pixels, and we add some drops to it. We calculate this blur subtracting 800 times. And if we iterate over the frames, we get this. And it's important to have everything on separate layers because we only want the water to ripple, of course. If we keep the forest, the fish and the face above the water layer and only apply the effect on this layer, we get this. Apply this to each frame and we have our water animation. Then the water reflections on the face. It's again a shortcut trick that makes it fast and easy to apply. We duplicate the face layer and make it brighter. Make sure palette lock is on so this color adjustment is done using the existing colors. Add the mask. And then we paint on the mask with full white to make the bright color only visible where we paint. Next frame, repeat, but with a different path, and repeat and repeat. Then the only non-2D animated part, the turning of the face. This is actually drawn by hand, which took by far the most time of the entire process, even if there were only 3 face positions. Final tweaks, the moving fog at the shore of the lake. Same trick, duplicate the background, make it lighter and add the mask. Then we paint a very basic cloud-like shape on the mask. And with the fish we moved the image layer itself. Now we're going to move the mask. This gives us the idea of a semi-transparent layer on top of the background, even if we can't use real transparency. It's just our brighter background layer that is visible through the mask. And finishing touches. We get a second moving fog layer that moves a bit faster to give some depth. Making sure here we have a repeatable shape so it nicely loops in our 96 frames. Done. And in preview a new feature I'm developing, support for Amiga IFF animations. It's not quite ready yet, but it's in development, and you can export your animation to the native animation format that Deluxe Paint on Amiga uses, so you can open, edit and play them on your Amiga. As you can see, the colors are a bit different because the Amiga uses 12-bit colors, not 24-bit. And as dpaint.js can also open animated GIFs, you will also be able to convert animated GIFs to Amiga animations and vice versa. The final result. Thanks for watching and till the next one.